Hi, I'm Richard Smith with Caliber Home Inspections. I want to go through all the systems in the house real quickly, just an overall 101 of the house. So if we're starting here in the attic and we're going to work our way down the house. This is a gas furnace. There's gas or heat pumps. This is a gas furnace. We'll talk about the interesting things about gas first. This is also your indoor air conditioning coil section. So part of your AC is up here. This is your gas line. If you're smelling gas at all, you would turn it off here. If we can get it close up right here. This is, home inspectors actually do not touch gas, but to turn this off, it would just be clockwise at a 45-degree angle, or 90-degree angle to the pipe. So if it's in line, it's on, and if it's perpendicular, then it's off. So on a furnace, the main thing you need to be concerned about is the filter. And this is a typical place for a filter. Sometimes you'd have to actually take this cover off and this cover off, and the filter is just inside the box unit right here. So this filter, there's many types, but this is the typical 1-inch filter, and it has no arrows. But oftentimes you'll get a filter that only has a one-way directional. Usually it's a hard grill on this side and the filter part on this side. So what you would do is you would put your filter in with the arrow facing your blower unit, because what happens, if you remember this, the air always gets filtered before it goes through your mechanics. So I'm just going to put this back, and we are going to move downstairs to the thermostat, and I have some interesting things to say about that too. Okay, now that we have seen the furnace, this furnace happens to be in the attic. Often they are in the basement and/or crawl space. But if you look at your thermostat, I wanted to mention the thermostat. You can have the setting, different settings, and for this one we have fan auto and fan on. I actually suggest that you keep the fan in the on position. It does a number of things. First of all, in the spring, it will continually to filter out the allergens that people have problems with. It also keeps the temperature throughout the house the same. It moves the hot air from one side of the house to the other, and you don't have that uncomfortable feel. In the summer, there are benefits also, and that is keeping the temperature circulating will allow you to keep the temperature maybe 2 degrees warmer than you typically would. The temperature, a lot of people worry about the compressor, the air conditioner running at all times and running a lot of energy, but the energy is really kind of trivial. The compressor running to cool down the house actually uses a good bit of energy. But the furnace fan, the blower fan that circulates the air throughout the house, actually uses the same energy as 2 ceiling fans. So in doing that, you'll just keep the air circulating, and you'd be more comfortable, mold-free, or reducing the possibility of mold, and then reducing the possibility of allergens. So we are going to go down and take a look at the electrical panel. Okay, now we want to take a look at the electrical system. We have often we have the meter outside. This is a townhouse, so it's a little different than a normal house. We have the meter outside with a cutoff. And if it has a cutoff outside, you don't need a cutoff inside. This has a cutoff outside and inside, which is a benefit to the homeowner here in this situation. To turn the main power off, if you have any kind of electrical problems, or if you want to fix something electrical, or if you smell an electrical fire, which is kind of burning plastic, it's the sheathing around the wires, you would take this and just turn this off and move it to the side to turn it off. It's a little hard, and it should be even harder to turn back on. Okay, The breakers, they've created a whole new type of set of breakers. There's a lot of arc fault breakers in specific areas of the house. They all have little test buttons, and to reset them, if it trips, you actually push it back and then turn it back on. In this case, the GFI receptacles are also in the main panel. Often the GFI receptacles that are in the bathroom and the kitchens and outside are, they have a little reset button. If we go over here, we can take a look. There are no reset buttons in this house, but it's the type that would have a little, you push to reset the receptacle, and in that case, it would just be local. But in this case, which are both okay by code, the GFI receptacle is in the main panel. All right, let's take a look at the main water system. This is your incoming line. This is, nicely, it's actually marked. So it says house main. And your handle right here, it's actually considered a ball valve. And inside, this is to cut the power off. Inside that valve, there is a ball, and it has a hole in the middle, and that's where the water goes. And if the handle is in line with the flow of the water, then it's in the on position. If it's at a 90-degree angle, then it's off. For instance, to turn it off, if you can see that, the water is in the off position. The other ones that are after, this is a pressure reducing valve. If it's after this valve, then it's typically your hose bib cutoffs. Now on the water heater, that cutoff is behind here. It's also a ball valve, but it's a plastic valve, so it's a little different. This valve right here, if you can move in and get a little closer and take a look at this, this is something that everybody needs to be aware of in their house, and it is a temperature and pressure relief valve, sometimes called a pop-off valve. And in this case, you want to make sure it's free and clear to turn. There's a pin in there, and it has no threads on it. In the event that the water heater, the pressure or the temperature gets out of control, then that pin just lifts up with a spring, and the water just shoots out of the line, and it needs to discharge in a safe place. In this case, it's behind the water heater on a concrete area, and that's considered a safe place. Usually you would see these through the wall and then discharging on the outside of the house, usually in an area that is very traffic prone. So if you do see it leaking, then you know you have something wrong with your water heater. All right, we're going to take a look at some of your gas services that you may have in the house. This is one that you may have on the outside of the house, and this is in the off position because it's perpendicular to the flow of the gas, and it's also capped. So this on the outside of your house is very likely for a gas grill. Now if we go over to the main gas service, this is the gas meter from the gas company. They have a cutoff right here, and usually there's another cutoff for the homeowner. But in this case, you can tell that the gas is on because these two holes, if you can see that, these two holes are not lined up, and the little stem is in line with the gas pipe. So you know it's on, and if you ever wanted to turn it off for any reason, because you smell gas, you should never smell gas on a natural gas connection, then you would get pliers and grab this stem and turn it 90 degrees so the holes line up, and that is to lock it off for the gas company, and then you can pay bills or something, but it also turns the gas off to your house, so it keeps it safe. All right, now we're going to take just a quick look at your AC compressor, and there's really nothing as far as maintenance goes. There are some really good rules of thumb you need to keep all of the debris and the weeds and ivy and everything away from this unit. The way this works most efficiently is pulls air in from the outside and blows it out the top. That's why if you want to have fun, you get a beach ball and kind of hang it right here, and it stays while your compressor's on. There is really what the heating and air guy will do to clean it is they will spray the fins with a cleaner, and they'll take the top off and they'll get a hose and they'll hose it out from the inside out, and that makes your compressor work more efficiently. Now if you follow these lines right up into the house, this is your coolant line, and then your return is right there, but usually you will see a white PVC line dripping down. In this case, it's a townhouse, so it's controlled into a drain system inside the house. And it will come out behind your compressor, and you want to move that further away from the house and get it to the other side of your compressor, just so you have you don't have settling on your compressor, and you keep all the water flowing away from the house so you don't have a mosquito problem. So those are all the main systems of your house, and I hope you enjoy your new house.